LinkedIn Live, and welcome to our third live of the week. This has been a crazy week, and tomorrow I'm speaking in LA. So if anybody's in LA, let me know and I'll get you a ticket. Guys, we have a great treat. We have my friend, colleague, and expert in digital marketing, especially when it comes to financial markets. We have Dave Blackburn. Dave, I'm not going to toot your horn because I want you to share. Can you share with our audience about you and all the wonderful things you do? Dave and I do a lot of things together, but Dave, go ahead, share about yourself.
Thanks, Zev. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining, Zev. Thanks for having me. Excited about this. As Zev says, we've been working together on some stuff. Always a pleasure, and I was totally honored to be asked to be here. And thanks to everybody who's tuning in today. Part of this process is, you invite all the people from LinkedIn that you want to invite to this. And that's sort of a humbling experience as I go through all the names. Every time I do this, I think about people I haven't worked with in a long time. And I also want to be really clear that a lot of this is stuff that I've learned through other people. And I know there are people on here who do this stuff way better than I do. So, I'm one voice. We all have our own experiences, but it's also a kind of a big team effort. So happy to be here, happy to talk about this stuff. I'll share what I can, but I certainly don't want to say that I have all the answers.
I love your humility, my friend. I love it, but you're here for a reason.
I think it's important. That's the humility side. Now I'll toot the horn a little bit, right? So as I've said, I'm a long-term marketer, digital marketer, primarily in financial services, but in some tech companies, some SaaS companies. I've been on the agency side earlier in my career. So I've done a lot of work in a bunch of different places, but I would say that the bulk of my career has been as either head of digital marketing or marketing strategy. I worked at Bank of America for a long time in the wealth management function. I worked at DTCC, Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, for a long time. And most recently, I was at an asset management firm called ProShares. And I'm amazed that people can go to school and get a degree in digital marketing right now. It wasn't a thing Zev, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say when we were going to school, it wasn't a thing. And it is now clearly a discipline in its own right. And the topic today is performance marketing. And that sort of ties into digital marketing. I really, even though my job titles along the way, I've had head of digital marketing for more than 10 years. I was marketing technology. I was interactive advertising. I was, multimedia and CD-ROMs back in the day. I've been pretty firm for a couple of years now that there's no such thing as digital marketing anymore. It's just marketing, right? And it's marketing the way it should be. It's modern marketing. A framework I'm going to talk about is I have my paper visuals, right? McKinsey and Company. This is from 2020. Modern marketing. Highly recommend that. Just as not surprising, the McKinsey team is super smart, but they've done a really good job of showing that marketing is digital marketing, is performance marketing. If you're doing it the right way, the effective way, the modern way, you are going to not be the old-fashioned spray and pray or buy advertising and you don't know who's reading it or you can't measure it. You're sort of a cost center, a creative team working off in your little rarefied space. You're a core part of the company. You're integrated to the strategy, you're driving revenue, you're driving growth for the company. So that's what I see as
so this is how I see. We market to humans, right, Dave?
Yes.
Every way, well, maybe in the future we'll market to robots, but right now we're marketing to humans. Humans have a brain, and that brain works, that has rules. Now, what's different is the distribution channel.
Yep.
Marketing is marketing. Okay. So I really love what you said, because what is digital marketing? It's just marketing on a digital distribution channel. Mm-hmm. And then there's many digital distribution channels. Each of them has its own, secret sauce, if you will. But marketing is about the strategic way of getting somebody to want what you do.
Yeah.
That's one thing. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, marketing is. I'm gonna quote Charlie XCX. I have Gen Z children, so I'm into Charlie. Her last album was, it's completely different, but it's still Brat. Performance marketing is completely different, but it's still marketing, right? We are, as you said, right? We have to define who we are, define our value proposition, identify our key audience, figure out what their need is, meet their needs, provide a solution, have products that meet the solutions, and then create a message, get it to them at the right time, in the right place, in the right format, when they're in the right mindset. And then we want to measure it and prove our value and close the deal and make money for the company. And so that's all marketing. And people have been doing that forever. It's just that now the tech, whether it's, it's digital tech, or I'll just call it tech, MarTech, ad tech, it infuses every step of that process. And it allows us to sort of supercharge the process. We can achieve efficiency, we can achieve scale, we can achieve personalization, security, reach, so on and so forth, and then measure it, right? We've got the data, we've got the insights, and we've got the tools that allow us to measure it.
So let me ask you this. We said tech. Let's call the child in its name. Artificial intelligence. Okay, so how does artificial intelligence literally revolutionize financial marketing?
Yeah.
Okay, like tell me how, because I know how it affects my world, and I know that's a big chunk of what I do, but share with me from like the insides. How does it affect?
I'm thinking, someone's going to watch this replay next week, and
Everything
whatever I say right now is going to be gone, right? So the first answer is, I don't know, because it's changing so quickly. We have to recognize the velocity of the change. That said, like any innovation in financial services, you have to deal with some things. You have to deal with compliance concerns, regulatory issues. You've got data privacy. You've got know your customer. You've got cybersecurity. You've got anti-money laundering, like all the stuff, right? Financial marketers, we do these trainings all the time. We know what they are. So that's part of it. But the other part of it is all that brand and product marketing, that process I described before. How does AI get into that? And to really break it down, oversimplify it, I would say two main ways. One is, and I tell this to a lot of my partners, clients already, it's already out there. If you're using Salesforce, you're using AI. If you are using XYZ MarTech or sales tech platform, ad tech, how you're doing programmatic advertising, targeting, intent analysis, you're already using AI. It's already being baked into the tools. And if you see how the M&A world is going and how the venture capital world is going and the investments that are being made, if you don't have an AI story to your tool, you're not going to get the funding. So we've seen all these platforms pivot or grow from the ground up as AI enabled. And that's...
Which a lot of it is nonsense between us, but yes.
Yes, it's not to diss the venture capital world, but this is the flavor of the month. And if you don't have an AI pillar in your business plan, you're not going to get the funding. So I can't blame the founders for going after that, right?
Absolutely. The founders that are actually going after that, I salute them, and they're the ones that are going to lead the charge in the future.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of companies that just put the AI on there, put some silly automation or something that is really not even AI related, but now they're an AI to put that to attract investors. That I do not like. But you need to put it in your journey for the future, because if not, you're not going to survive.
Agreed. I'll put that in the category of performative AI, right? We're just doing it for the headline to put it in our product description. So those are the big platforms, right? You're already using it. But then how are you going to use it in a real meaningful way, in a value additive way? A framework that I love and a visionary that I highly recommend is Noah Breyer. He's a founder of Percolate, which was an amazing sort of productivity, workflow management, MarTech platform. And he's gone on to do that. Percolate got acquired by Seismic, and I think a lot of us work with those companies. Noah's all in on generative AI for marketing. And he's been running conferences that I find super visionary. I went to the New York one a year ago. He does them in LA now. His latest framework, and he does a great job of staying on top of things. So this is Noah. His organization is Brand X is the way it's BRXND. Check him out. But his latest sort of philosophical description of what generative AI does is he says it's not the platform itself, it's not the key tool, it's this amorphous thing that seeps into the empty spaces in your current process or in your current tools. He talks about it being super glue, right? It finds those high friction interfaces where you've got a manual process going on, or you've got a bad data exchange or something, and generative AI can really step into that. I think a great example of this is, and we'll talk about, we should get back to and talk about sort of what performance marketing, what I see as the components of that. But a great example of that is if you ask people what their challenges are with marketing these days, sales marketing integration always comes up, right? That's a classic. There have been case studies and books, oh my God, conferences, it just on and on. Often for me, that boils down to the sales team doesn't want to enter data into the CRM. Just nuts and bolts, right? This stuff is not like rocket science. It's not a huge project. It's just literally a friction point where sales is good at sales and they don't want to have to write up the notes. So, shameless plug for a company. It's Blox, BLOKS, Canadian company. Shout out to Mark at Blox, who's a business school classmate of mine. And they have a tool that is it preps you for your meetings. It gives you a little brief, which I think we've seen this in other platforms, but these are really good briefs based on who's going to be there. It takes the notes, it transcribes, it does the summary, and then wait for it. It automatically loads that into your CRM, right? API into Salesforce, gets it done. So your salespeople don't have to do it. Two huge benefits from that. One is obviously you're getting the data into your CRM and the salespeople aren't frustrated by it. The marketing people aren't frustrated by it. Leadership likes it. The numbers look good. The investment is worth it. The other thing is, not for nothing, it helps with compliance. You have all the know your customer KYC stuff. You have documented all of your interactions with the client, and you have a record of it, and you can go back to it. So encourage everybody to check out Blox. I have no skin in the game there. It's just my friend's company, but I use it, and it's a great tool. So that's an example of when Noah Breyer talks about it's super glue that goes and finds those little high friction points. It sort of flows around the stuff that we do already, whether that's your process or your tech stack. It can take that friction out of the system and facilitate productivity.
So I'll challenge this a little bit.
Yeah.
There's so many tools out there. I truly believe in today's world, which has never happened before, mediocre is free. I want to be mediocre though. And any tool you use, and I'm sure, the Blox tool is amazing. And I'm sure your friend, I would love to meet him. And I'm sure the tool works incredibly, but it's not about the tool. It's truly not about the tool. The tool is a tool. That's all it is. It's about really understanding what you're trying to do. And this is something that is a pet peeve of mine. If you know how to do something, Dave, use AI and make it 10x. If you don't know how to do something, I don't care what tool you have, and I don't care what it does, and I don't care that it feeds your CRM, it's not going to work.
Yep.
Okay. So AI is an incredible tool to enhance what you already know how to do. So love all those tools, but I want everybody to really understand that if the AI doesn't know you really intimately, it's not going to work for you. It's just going to be mediocre and what our team calls, pardon my French, shiny-ish.
Yes.
It looks really good, but it's worthless.
Yeah, I totally agree. Mediocrity is free. We can all write word salad press releases right now in a second. Where I would say Noah's framework is good is he's not talking about a tool. he's talking about how to make your tools work better, right? But I totally also agree with you. But before generative AI launched, I remember, I wish I could remember who it was, but a speaker who said on the topic of MarTech, if you just implement a new tool, if you just buy a new tech without changing the way you work, you're just going to break stuff faster, right? I think that I'm sort of paraphrasing what you just said, Zev, if you don't understand what you're doing, it can't help you. And so another pithy soundbite about generative AI is it doesn't make boring people creative and genius,
No.
but it allows creative and genius people to avoid the boring stuff, right? And because
love that, Dave. Love that. That's such a great analogy. I never heard it before.
Yeah.
Love it. So
Yeah.
AI does not make boring people into interesting. It just helps interesting people not do the boring stuff. Love that.
I'm all about consensus. I'm glad we could bring that back together. Thank you.
Love it. Now, Christian, who's our head of SEO, hey Chris, is asking, are we looking at AI replacing salespeople or man and machine becoming one? I'll take that, and then if you'd like,
I have thoughts, but please, right?
So I'm all about the connection of man and machine, and I'll take it a step further. When we bring an AI system into a company, it's not like bringing a software. It's like bringing an entity. A person is a lot more like it. You need to train them, test them. A lot of times I get companies coming to me, Zev, can we just build this knowledge base? All we got to do is send you all the information and you just put it. And I was like, no, we got to train the AI. Like we need to really make this happen. So Chris, to your question, I truly believe that AI is not going to replace you, but somebody uses AI better than you will replace you. And it's all about the collaboration. It's not about replacing people with AI. It's about having AI do the stuff that it does better and releasing you to do the things that you can do to grow. Please, to you, Dave.
Yeah, totally agree. For this week, this could all change next week. I don't know, but yeah, again, mediocrity. Sure, it can replace all of your mediocre salespeople, but I don't think you're getting a lot of value out of them. I think is it gonna replace your genius high performers? Honestly, I think someday, yes, probably. But how that happens and how you train the tool to get to that point is a whole other thing. Let's take a little side quest on why is generative AI right now so awesome? It's been trained on great content and all the stuff that we as humans have learned how to do and published about. And the two big industry, not financial services, but two big industry hits that people are talking about are associates who are starting out in law firms and analysts who are starting out in investment banks. And those guys, I mean, I never did that job. Some of my best friends did. That's grunt work and it's brutal. You put in your time, but it's essential. It's sort of the apprenticeship where you learn the craft and then you mature. If you make it through, you grow up and you become the partner, and then you are able to mentor the next generation. A lot of people are saying, wow, Gen AI, it can read all these court cases, all the casework, the studies. It can read all the business plans and financial statements, et cetera. And we're not going to have associates anymore. Well, but if you do that, you're not going to have the next generation of leaders to lead your company. And I think that what we're talking about here is in order to use it well, you have to know what your company, what your business is. You need to know what your value proposition is and what you bring in terms of adding value. And the risk is there's a disconnect there. And it's the same thing. If we use it to generate all of our content, then it's not, I did not come up with this idea. We've read it everywhere, I think. There will be bad AI content that will be training the next generation of generative AI, and we're going to sort of stagnate and fall into a pit. So a warning, right? But again, that's this week. I think it's improving at crazy speed, and we'll see where it goes.
But I truly agree with what you're saying, man. But this is what companies don't really understand. There are levels to AI, and you and I worked on a joint project. Shout out Financial Narrative. But everybody right now is on level 1 of AI. and this is something you and I have discussed in
Yeah.
a previous panel we did.
Yeah.
So every company needs to understand that every person has this thing and we all use it. Now, the tools that are out there, I'm not, the ChatGPTs, Geminis, even the co-pilots, definitely the DeepSeeks of the world, you can't use them for almost anything if you really are using IP or any kind of sensitive information.
Right.
So you're not able to, yet everybody does. So the problem, especially with financial companies, again, some people are going to follow the rules, but some won't. And some are going to use these shortcuts that can bite you in the butt.
Yep.
So every financial company needs to graduate from level 1 to at least level 2, which level 2 is a customized AI that knows you. But then the holy grail is in level 3. And this is, again, something we discussed, where you need a secured knowledge base. Now you have a secured knowledge base, which is like a RAG, a retrieval augmented generation, that only knows you and can't share anything out. And you have a feedback loop that keeps on getting better and better and better. Companies that are going to do that, Dave, are going to dominate. Companies that won't will end up not moving really fast.
Totally agree. And just I'll continue to shout out that what Zev was mentioning is we've both been contributing to an article that's going to be coming out from Financial Narrative about generative AI in marketing communications, primarily for financial services. And that's a something I spent a lot of time thinking about and working on, which is how to get this up and running specifically in a regulated industry, right? And it's a challenge. My little piece of the article is sort of about how you get to yes with your compliance team. But honestly, it feels the same as when we started giving people email addresses, or we put the website up. Like that's how long I've been doing this stuff.
Do you remember convincing leaders that social media is here to stay?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Zev picked up his phone. We all know people are using it. The challenge is to give them compliant pathways and frameworks and rules of the road so that they can do it in the right way. Because and this, if I had to boil down my approach to how to work with compliance and how to get them on board, it's to be very clear that my goal is to drive success for the company. I don't want to incur a fine. I don't want to have people lose their licenses. We want the company to do well. That's why we're here. And the compliance team, if you ask the question a certain way, they'll say no. They'll always say no. That's sort of their default. That's their risk profile. That's their mandate, and good. But the challenge is for us to reach across the aisle, think in terms of how they look at things, explain things in their terms. I think that's something we all need to do as marketers for every group we work with, and get to yes, right? That's the classic negotiating technique, the classic change management framework, right? Think about the person on the other side, what's driving them, and we need to adopt that into our approach.
100%. We have a few questions that I think we should answer. Where do you see AI help and improve the process when it comes to financial services?
I'm going to take this opportunity to sort of back up and talk about performance marketing, right? What are the components of that? I said before, it's just marketing, right? We are doing all the same stuff. And tactically, where the rubber hits the road is we are going to build content. We're going to make a user experience around that content, and we're going to promote that content as it goes out into the world. Now, I've just sort of glossed over a whole lifetime of career, but right, building content, generative AI is quite good at that. Again, with the mediocrity is free caveat, and you, as Zev says, you have to understand what you're doing, and you want it to understand what your company does, and you don't just want to do it on your phone because you're going to leak your information.
I have a bold shout out. So we actually developed a tool, Dave, in-house that actually does the persona part, the research part, the writing part. if you want to do good content, you need to make sure the AI knows exactly who you are and what you're trying to achieve. So, Hamad, thank you for that question. And we've created a tool exactly for that, to create the right kind of content. Please, Dave.
And like broadly, content is the written word, it's the press release, it's the emails, it's the white papers, thought leadership, executive speeches, whatever you want it to be. Here we go.
So,
do you want to spin through this a little bit? And I'll
so I just want to share basically that this is just a basic entry. But when you want to create something, you've got to build a persona first, and you got to have the persona very, very detailed. If you don't know how to do that, the AI is never going to create anything. Then you have to do research. Okay. And research has a process. We are an agency that's done research B2B for 20 years. There's a process to do it. Then you do the writing. And then after you do all that, you actually generate all the images and all the videos. I'll go really, really quick. I won't spend too much time on this, but when you build a persona, okay, so of course a name. What are your goals and focuses? I want to get some blog content that you actually wrote. I want to get some social posts that you actually wrote. I want to get all your visual assets and your logo. I want to create an avatar for you, either an avatar for Dave or select from all our avatars. I want to load up all of your brand guides. I want to load up your website, your LinkedIn. I want to really let the AI know what it is that you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And again, getting back to the mediocrity is free, it's only going to be as good as how you set it up, right? And I would expand that. You sort of touched on it, but it's not just the thought leadership content, but I view paid media and advertising as content as well, because that's messaging, that's the video, the visuals, etc. So to answer the question that was up, generative AI is in the middle of all of this. Again, if your agency isn't talking to you about how they're using generative AI, you should be suspicious, because they're using it. Some of the best agencies I've worked with, they're very clear, right? Hey, this is an initial concept. We didn't burn a ton of hours from our humans doing this. This is quick generative AI. It's FPO. Boom. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the transparency, and I frankly appreciate the value. So that's sort of core content creation. But then another interesting case study is how we're using AI to be more effective, not just about the development of the content, but the optimization of the content, the delivery of the content. And this is a sort of a twofer. One is all these tools are already using generative AI, right? The audience development technology in your DSP, the social media algorithm that's promoting your content to certain people, the audience definition as you select targets in LinkedIn when you target your ad there. So there's generative AI is going on in that. And then there's the whole world of A/B testing and optimization and personalization at scale. Again, I've mostly worked in B2B, but Zev said this before, right? Like it's B2H, we're marketing to humans. And one of the big innovations, sort of revolutionary pieces of digital marketing broadly, is that we can do this now. We can do it at scale. We can do it efficiently. We can do it at stunning scale, frankly. And I think B2C is a little bit more ahead of this. They'll market the soda to you.
They're always ahead of it.
They're always ahead of us. But it's really allowed B2B to catch up. And as whether we're doing brand or demand marketing, overall brand or individual product, it gives us incredible superpowers that allow us to do it. So that's another part of the advertising piece. And then advertising promotion, the measurement, right? Once it's out there, we're getting tons of data back. And again, it's a great thing. We can do this with digital marketing or modern marketing. We have a ton of data for targeting, and we have a ton of data for optimization and measurement. But if you're not careful, you drown in it. And so if you're smart, you're using AI to wade through your data and pull out the key insights.
Great. So what are the key insights in financial marketing? What are the key KPIs that you recommend everybody that deals with financial markets marketing, what are the KPIs that we should pay attention
to? Two ways to answer that question. One is, sure, we have all the stuff that the agency gives us in terms of engagement and reach and frequency and target frequency and high value actions, cost per action, cost per click. We've got all that. The most important metric for me is if when I'm sitting with the executive team and the head of sales says, "Holy cow, this was awesome! I got 10 calls about this product. Thank you." That's done. I don't have to do any quantitative anything. The perception is worth $1 million. So I would encourage us all as marketers. This again gets into the reach across the aisle and put yourself in the mindset of the person you're trying to collaborate with and get them on board with your effort. Think about what drives them. You show a Tableau dashboard with click-through rates to a sales team. How's that conversation going to go? But if they have the qualitative sense that, wow, this made something change in my world, then job done. So the two ways of looking at KPIs. To get back to the more serious stuff a little bit, I would broadly say efficiency and effectiveness, right? You can do stuff cheaper, quicker, fewer people, whatever it might be. And you can actually evaluate attribution models. And when you're doing an ABM campaign, you can really put a number on how much this lead is worth and what it cycled through in terms of contract value and then lifetime value. So all of those, what I would call modern marketing metrics, are still very relevant and important. And look, you have to sit down and figure out what your KPIs are. And I always tell my teams, we are so lucky that we get to define our KPIs. So my nightmare is when someone says, "These are the KPIs, build something that's going to do it." The conversation is going to go much better if you start at the beginning and you say, "Okay, what do we want to accomplish? How are we going to measure it? What are the benchmarks going to be?" And then we work together to build a process that's going to allow us to deliver on that. And so you can choose from your what I'll call agency standard KPIs and metrics. I don't think there are any surprises there.
Love that. So, Dave, this was such a quick half an hour. I can't believe half an hour has already passed. What I want you to do is, why don't you give a couple of tips to our audience, anybody who's in marketing, financial marketing, a couple of tips of what they should do starting now in order to improve themselves. And then I would love for you to tell everybody how they can reach you, if they want to talk to you, where's the next speaking you're doing, or how people can actually view the stuff that you're doing.
Cheers. Thanks. So, right. I would say, and I work with small asset management firms. I work with SaaS tool builders, and I'm mentoring some people as they're doing their startups, and I'm working on a bunch of different stuff. And the answer kind of is it depends where you are in your maturity curve. So Zev talked about our 3-level maturity model. That's going to be in the article that's forthcoming from Financial Narrative. I would also just put, I've got the visual aids, change management. This is the book. I read it in business school. I hope you all did too, or read it if not, or just go to Claude and say, "Hey, Claude, what are the key takeaways from this book?" Sorry, Mr. Cotter, I just didn't sell you a book or didn't sell one of your books. Treat it like a change management exercise. Be very clear about what you want to accomplish. Set yourself achievable goals. Test and learn. You don't have to bite off everything and swallow it and digest it. Treat it like a change management exercise. Put together the right team in terms of cross-functional team. That's going to be a section of the article that's coming out as well. And be willing to learn some stuff along the way, stub your toe along the way. I know that's hard in financial services where we're dealing with compliance and regulatory issues, but it's possible, right? We all got online, we all got email, we all got on social media, and so on and so forth. So it's possible you can do it, but don't try and do too much. Prove value. Find who your innovators are on your sales team, on your tech team, on your compliance team, on your finance team. Partner with them, get them on board, and boom, go with it.
How do we reach you? How does somebody follow what you do? How does somebody reach out to you?
So
how does a company reach out to you?
I'm there on LinkedIn. My firm is Stratton Story. David at strattonstory.com, story.com. But hit me on LinkedIn is the best way. Again, I do digital innovation, digital marketing, AI consulting for financial and other firms. And if you want to talk more, I'm here. And Zev, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
A pleasure, man. Always a pleasure to have you. I actually need to share with you a new thing we developed. Our new and improved RAG. RAG is an AI name. We haven't named it market, but I would love to show you that. Guys, follow Dave. Incredible guy, kind, knowledgeable, and humble. So everybody follow Dave, follow Stratton Story. And Dave, thank you for coming. I'm sure we're going to have to do another one as, time just ran out.
I appreciate it. Thanks. And thanks everybody for attending. See ya.
Everybody.